Welcome to the Ultimate Australia Championships Division 2. Got a women's division game for you today. And as a surprise, we've got two competent commentators from the other side of the world. I'll bring them in now. Take it away.
Hello everyone, great to be back. My name is Rachel Toshnerova and I'm joining over from the Czech Republic, and I'm very glad I got to do this because it means that I'm catching the sunrise. And now I'm going to let my commentator introduce herself.
Hi, thank you, Rachel. This is Valkyrie. I'm actually an Australian calling in all the way from Edinburgh, Scotland, so an early start for us in the European time zone, but we're really excited to be watching some Frisbee live in Australia today.
Thank you for joining us as well, Hillary. We have two teams meeting for the second to last game of today's Div 2 Nationals, and that's Underground and Valkyrie. Do you have any knowledge of these two teams, Hillary?
Thanks, Rachel. I have a little bit. So if we just start off with Valkyrie, they're a team that's been around for 6 to 7 years, I believe. They come from South Australia, and I think they're a team that has been playing together for quite a long time at that sort of fun level, trying to be competitive, but also to have a really good time. Underground, as you can see, is in the ACT as well, so it's really exciting to fall on this game as well. As I'm also from the ACT, a big cut downfield.
So, a couple of turnovers, a few of deep shots straight away. Unfortunately, none of them collected so far.
Underground coming out strong with this zone. Rachel, what do you think so far?
So I have commentated a game yesterday, and it seems that this will be the predominant tactics in both of these games, because the weather right now is just worth giving it a shot. There's definitely a bit of crosswind on this field, and zone has been paying off for the previous teams as well, and it seems like it's going to cause quite some trouble for these two teams as well, even though we have to take into account it's day 2 of the tournament, and they've had a chance to kind of adapt to the conditions. On the other hand, of course, first fatigue is setting in, and this is Div 2, so some development players definitely on both sides, on all teams. So we will see if how much the number of turnovers is affected by the weather.
Yeah, they're playing at a field called Southwell Park, which I know very well because a young kid I used to play on this field multiple different sports. But I also used to play netball at the adjacent courts, and I used to train with factory frisbee as well on this field. I'm sure Underground, having come from Canberra, will be really familiar with these fields, so they'll be accustomed to the weather and the different types of things that they can deal with.
So we have Underground now under offense, and here's the first point of the game, right on time, getting back to the play-by-play. Easy money there, just a quick cut to the open side, run through your defender and get the disc. So Underground, after a couple of turnovers, gets in the first point. 5 minutes in, the score is 1-0.
Yeah, so a bit of a choppy start to this first point. There are a couple of turnovers there, and that was just quite evident with the wind. You can hear it whipping up against the microphones on field. And that's something that's really going to play a huge part in this game right now for both teams, that are going to be really tactical and prioritize their throws on the field. they're going to have to really use their handles in these moments to make sure they get off those really good shots, because any little slight hesitation in the disc, instead of loose release, will really affect the outcome of where it goes. So it'll be interesting to see what Valkyrie do now as they come out on defense, having had Underground come out with the zone.
We had a quick replay of the first point of the game. Nice and easy, an open side flick. So here comes Underground with a roller with a forehand pull. That doesn't go quite as expected, I think. We have seen teams struggling to pull from this side of the field, usually not making it too far behind the midline, and they immediately set up in a zone. So this seemed like a quick disc exchange and an immediate crossfield throw. Oh my god, what a beautiful shot. That was so precise. The handler recognizing the open player immediately and just not wasting a second. But an unfortunate drop prevents Valkyrie from their first point. Hopefully they can get the disc back quickly so they don't have to go back the full length of the field. And they do defend immediately.
Just chiming in really quickly, we've got Valkyrie in white and Underground in black. That was my mistake earlier.
I see. So sorry about that. We've had the colors confused there. We cannot see close enough to quite identify the players. So right now, Underground in the red zone, and a beautiful break around flick for the score. So yeah, that's 1-1, and the first point was Valkyrie and the second point was Underground, but that's okay because they're even now, so it does not really matter. They did a great job on both sides.
Yeah, great undercut there in the end zone. Really nice to see that team sort of work really quickly and react to the opportunities that they were given right on the line. So much space in that end zone. You just see that stack that was super deep, and that was a really deliberate ploy to just create the movement and create the space for these cutters to move into.
So Hillary, some interesting results from both of these teams. Although Valkyrie didn't have much luck on Friday or at the start of the tournament, where they lost 2 games by quite a big margin, probably meeting some of the more advanced teams in the tournament. They finally got in a win against Melbourne Inferno on Friday afternoon. And then today, they've already had 1 game, which they won on Universe, it seems like, and it was against NSU Aurora. So I think we're in for a very tight game.
Yeah, I think these teams are really well matched up, and I'm really looking forward to seeing what they can do and how they play against each other. I'm not sure they would have played before, given that Underground is actually a brand new team, so they'll be nervous to see how it plays out.
That was a wonderful, wonderful putt by Underground. An unfortunate overthrow right at the end for Valkyrie. But I just wanted to make sure to commend that pull, because that was the furthest pull I've seen so far from that side of the field. And Valkyrie sets up in a zone, and a beautiful defense there by Valkyrie, run through the disc, and then just a quick high release to the end zone. And just like that, Valkyrie goes up 2-1. Look at that again. That's why you have to be moving when you're trying to catch a disc and not stand in the spot. There is always a chance someone's sneaking up on you from behind.
Some lovely
And
shots
since we've
here
covered-
of the field. Sorry, Rachel, what were you going to say?
It's okay. I was just going to give you a bit on Underground as well, on the results. Oh, yes. They've had their little ups and downs as well, but mostly ups, I have to say. So far they have only lost one game on Friday. It was their second game against Hills, and it was 6-10. So really not something that, couldn't happen by accident. So quite hard to say who's going to be the favorite here. And with this kind of wind, a lot is determined by, I don't want to say luck, but let's say external circumstances as well. And for the first time, we see Valkyrie with a person defense. And an unforced error, the flick ends in the ground. Valkyrie with a chance to break. Ooh, and a stall count called. It did take a while, but I think it might have been a tiny bit too quick. But we will have to have you consider that yourself once you watch the replay and watch your highlights back at home.
So it looks like a pick was called and they're now discussing it. And I'm presuming it's because the player didn't catch it on the full. But it looks like it's going back to the original handler.
So Underground, looking for the upline. They take it. Look for the continuation, isn't there? But now there is, beautifully attacking the front corner. Second point for Valkyrie. Let's have a look at it. Look again. The thrower doesn't take the deep shot. The defender tries to stay in between, but as she turns her head, her cutter uses that opportunity, runs through her, and that's a beautiful end zone offense right there.
Yeah, Underground really had cutthroat eyes there, only looking down in that small channel to try and find that placement to put the disc. And I think just now, as they start to sort of warm up in this game and they start to get a little bit more comfortable with their throws in this wind, they can start to look to swing the disc and open up lots more space on the other side, the fat side of the field, really get a lot more opportunities and put pressure on that Valkyrie defense.
And again, that great pull from Underground, very impressive. And a deep shot goes up immediately, but it will be defended. The cutter was covered very well, actually, by two defenders, one of them peeling off from their own player to help out in the back. But maybe Valkyrie knew quite well what they were doing. Oh, another huge deep shot. There's two players underneath, three, but it will be Valkyrie who comes down with it and respond with a huge lefty backhand of their own. Sensing a bit of a huck and D tactics here, but we will see if that will work. Now Valkyrie's stuck on the sideline and solve things with a huge scuba I'm liking that energy, as in, it's getting very tight in here. I don't think I'm gonna get off the dump. So I might as well
Rachel, I was gonna
send
say,
it as far as I can.
oh yeah, you can feel it, can't you, Rachel? Like it feels stressful already out on the field. Like you can see just the tension and the stress. Like everyone's just trying to throw the disc and convert it and get it out.
Well, that's good, because it's waking me up, Hillary. I wish, guys, you could see the sunrise here. And another quick turnover right in front of the end zone. They get it to the middle. And that dangerous lefty around. But unfortunately, out of bounds. The receiver does a good job trying to keep her feet in. I can't reach the disc at the same time. Ooh, and a very, very tight cup out of Valkyrie. What do you think, Hillary?
Yeah, maybe not regulation, but that seemed to work for them.
And another huge deep shot, this time collected. So Underground has some people in the front. They seem to be moving forward. And another pass. Just a slight overthrow. But they've made it very far this time. It seems like this direction is proving quite difficult due to the crosswind. Maybe it's the other direction as well, as we get yet another high release backhand deep shot. But there seemed to be also a little collision, maybe a rolled ankle. I would love to tell you who the player is. If we could see her number at the back of her jersey, she's going to take a swap there with number 21. And now we see how well the teams have filled out their rosters. I have no number 21 from Underground. But what we have is another
number 21.
There you go. And Jessica will get down for defense as Valkyrie goes the other way. Ooh. And another disc is pushed towards the ground by the wind. And Underground looks for the free players. And now a great shot to the end zone and even better defense by Valkyrie. Maybe not so intentional, but this is the best you can do when you can't see the disc and you can orient yourself. You just get close to your player and hope for the best. And in that time that worked, and a foul causes another turnover. Sprout, of course, a difficult mark with her long arms. And a deep shot goes up to no one, unfortunately, even though it was a beautiful progress on the distance covered. And Underground wastes no time. I think the instruction of the coaches is clear. Get it as far as you can and hope for the best. I think this decision could have been done a tiny bit better, because I feel like there was a player who was moving to a spot where there was no defender. Ooh. Valkyrie now in a spot where they probably want to be, the red zone. And they will get it up the line, but a drop caused by a lot of pressure.
Rachel, this has
And I
already
think-
been a very long point, and both teams are making really similar mistakes. You know, both just trying to huck it deep to get away from their end zone line. I mean, if you look now, we've got Even Lim with the disc, and she's coming up in one of the hardest positions right on the corner, coming up against a zone, cup. You know, tough to break through and to clear out, and like her options are to huck it long.
And she does, Hillary, and I sympathize with her. I do feel like that corner, the best thing you can do in crosswind is just, you know, to learn how to huck well. And you might as well learn it in the games. So I think this is where Huck and D gets their poor reputation, because it's sometimes what the teams on the developmental side need to resort to actually get, oh my god! And while I'm chatting away, there's like Callahan on the field, and wow, what a great look there from number 93.
Laura Franklin?
I'm
I like that
clearly
Even
looking.
looks to swing it through the cup, through her handlers. That second throw, not keeping an eye on those defenders, and it was also quite a lofty disc as well. It was going up high. Just evidence that it is quite windy out there.
And
Really
also
great.
justifying the fact that, yeah, absolutely
sorry,
justifying
Rachel,
the fact. Go ahead, finish what you were saying.
I'm so sorry. I was just going to say that that was really good heads-up defense, particularly after such a long point. There's a lot of pressure there, and that's where this zone really comes into play and is super effective, because you've got the players in the cup who are really focusing in on any person like a handler with the disc. But when you have these people out in the field who are just marking space, that's what they can do so well, is own that space and get those big intercepts.
I absolutely loved also the way she just hit the disc, but then was still looking to catch it, because it's just a wonderful feeling to be able to get the Callahan. And at the same time, I wanted to point out that it is kind of justifying now the huck and D tactics that both teams have been employing, because this is exactly what you don't want to do. Even though you're able to get the disc across the field, that is kind of where the team will be making the most pressure, and they will be sneaking up on you and waiting for that kind of heads-up defense, and it can even result in a Callahan. And so you have two options. You can either try to improve on your hucks and get it as far as you can and get your team a chance to practice defense, or you can show off by throwing a beautiful break pass to the middle, but you're very much like you have to take into account the risk that it might result in a Callahan, which will definitely bring your team a lot more down than a turnover somewhere in the middle of the field, So I think Huck and D gets their not so great reputation from games like this, but I wouldn't judge. I really wouldn't, because I think it can teach you quite a lot. It gives your team a very good chance to practice defense as much as they can. And let's be honest about this, unless you learn how to huck, you're never going to play high level elite ultimate. And I think learning it in a game is the most useful way, really. But anyway, back to the action on the field. Valkyrie now heading the more difficult direction. We see person defense out of underground, and a flick is intercepted. Valkyrie will be guarding away. And a good look, but again, out of reach of the receiver. We can see the defenders positioning themselves in between the disc and their player. Oh, and a lucky lucky catch there. Probably not the intended receiver. Neither was this one, but that's okay as long as it works. Ooh. And this one goes right in between two Valkyrie players, but Underground is the one smacking it to the ground. Seems like both teams are sticking with vert stack. Obviously Underground standing a bit further, knowing that they have the wind in their back. Ooh, and now a very good throw to the end zone. Another receiver manages to get there, but neither get their hand on it. That was a layout opportunity right there. But I do feel you, girl. I wouldn't have done it either.
Rachel, you can just feel like down there's just so much stress and intensity, like just so many turnovers, a few bobbles of the disc. You know, it's just a bit confusing and everyone's trying their best, but these passes just aren't really coming off for both sides. Like we can see both teams are making the same mistakes.
I have all the sympathy. It's their 6th game. It's the last game of today. I think these teams have had their ups and downs both. We've said that. The level seems very even, and they're not afraid to adopt similar tactics, knowing that there is a high chance they might get the disc again. Valkyrie now gets the disc off the sideline.
You said it there, you know, they've played so many games and it's, you know, at this stage of the tournament, big huck downfield and they secure it.
And they do. Underground with a score.
Number 5 caught by Matilda Needle.
Yep. That's the number we were looking for. A fellow number 5. Great score.
Miriam Downey with that vision, who found her player in the end zone. That's the look that you want, Rachel, isn't it? Like when there's those high pressure moments and you're just trying to get a conversion on there, get another point on the board. You see your player downfield and you think, there's plenty of defenders around, but I'm just going to huck and hope.
Absolutely. So I think the last point took at least 10 minutes, but now we're even at 3. So I think even though it has been a lot of turnovers, I think we're in for a treat in terms of the tightness of this game, for sure, Hillary.
Definitely, Rachel. What I'm really liking out of Underground is this is a brand new team. They only formed a year ago, and they formed really as a pathway out of university or a pathway through university to play Frisbee for other females. So there is another team in the ACT called Factory that was also quite a competitive Frisbee team. Big look downfield for Valkyrie, just couldn't convert that one. But I like that this team, you know, from afar it looks like they're enjoying themselves, but they're also just really positive. They're also just trying their best and looking to make those plays and do what they can, like those big hucks. Turf of the disc there, really unfortunate place right now, right on the end zone line.
Ooh, and a huge break. Unfortunately, it doesn't go exactly didn't go as expected. And now Underground just goes for the deep shot, and it's a much better idea because it works out. They are on the sideline, but they have made it very, very far. They try to go for another one. Isn't quite there. They get it to the middle. Keep moving it across. And here is another huge deep shot, but not quite far enough to reach either of the players waiting in the end zone. But they've definitely made the position of Valkyrie a bit more difficult. And this is exactly what they were hoping for an overthrow on the first pass. We will see if we will get a team to convert in this difficult end zone. They activate the handler immediately, but a bit too much energy on that disc. And Valkyrie wastes no time, tries to get the disc away from their own end zone, but it will be turnover straight away. Number 22 gets the first pass off to the open side and is now activated again, going up line, takes away the defenders. And they go through the break side, but again, a bit out of reach of number 27. I'm really liking the big shirt numbers of Underground from Valkyrie. They seem a tiny bit faded.
Yeah, it's almost like silver on white is not the best color combo for on-screen visibility. You can really see that contrast with Underground. They've just gone with that solid number, and the black shirts, they do really help, don't they, Rachel? Particularly when we're just watching on our screens at home.
Absolutely. For those who have just joined, please know that this commentary is done live, but is not done from the same location. We have started a little competition with Hannah yesterday, trying to figure out how many people, how many countries are involved in watching the game. So myself and Hillary already make 2 extra countries. I'm joining from the Czech Republic, and Hillary, I hope, from the UK. And
that's true. I am coming from the UK. I'm coming from Scotland, to be more precise.
And we were trying to get our fans watching on YouTube tell us where they're watching from, where they're tuning in from, to watch these beautiful, huge hucks. They do look nice, but somehow the receivers don't seem to get them on the other side, but this will be an exception out of Valkyrie.
Rachel, you can hear that incredible sideline vocals, can't you?
Yes, absolutely.
Strong communication from the Valkyrie team. Oh, big block, big hand block there from Miriam Downey.
And Underground goes the other way. They try to get through the zone. And yet another turnover. So we do have some viewers on the YouTube channel, Hillary, and Divas Pandari says hello from SA. Do you want to have a guess? Would that be South America? Also, Hillary, maybe we can have a look at the questionnaires that the teams kindly filled out for us and see if they have any fans that we can do a shout out for. And it really seems like the distance to the UK might be a bit too far, because I feel like we have lost Hillary for a bit. But that is okay. In the meantime, there is still action happening on the field. And Valkyrie is taking a sub, maybe? Yes. They're now in the red zone, but the first throw goes straight to the ground. And Valkyrie sets up in their 4-person cup. We see all the players very close, really trying to create a full wall around the thrower. But before the mark has time to set up, they put it deep, but the defender in the back is very much ready. And here we go again. This time the long backhand works out. They waste no time, try to keep the flow going. Move the disc to the middle. Nice jam cut out of number 38. And a break throw is wobbled, and even though the receiver gets on the ground to pick it up, it goes out of her reach.
Exhausting stuff, Rachel. We've been here for almost 40 minutes and we're still looking at 3 aside, 3 apiece. You know, they're far from having a halftime break. These teams just must be so wrecked by now, so it's really impressive how well they're just pulling together, particularly Valkyrie coming, you know, going from zone to match defense now.
And there it is. There it is. Underground finally gets it in. Of course, it was at a time when I looked away, so I will have to wait for the replay, and I get it immediately. A quick turn, an upline dish, and 22 with the assist. Beautiful around backhand to the end zone. Receiver gets on her knees to make sure to close her arms and hug the disc nice and tight.
Great vision there.
Look at that.
That was Downey with the disc and Lim who caught it in the end zone. Those two as a pair have probably played together for a number of years. Just in that Canberra scene, they're probably really well accustomed with each other, and that's why you get these nice connections. The two of them will be able to just see each other or feel that vibe, Rachel. Like, you know, when you're playing with someone that you are familiar with, you just understand like what they can do and where they can go, and you sort of have this more intuitive style of playing.
Absolutely. I just love when you've been playing with someone for a while and you just know exactly what they're going to do and what's going to happen. It makes the game so much easier, and it builds up the chemistry of the whole team eventually, because other players start to sense it as well. And I think it's a good call by either of the teams. Whoever called the timeout had a good idea about these last 2 points, which have been so long and must have been so tiring. We saw a couple of subs, maybe also, you know, due to all the strain the players endured during these long points. So a quick break with no halftime in sight is definitely a good idea, and hopefully it will have effect on the rest of the game, or at least for the next point, to have them legs a tiny bit rested.
Yeah, really good decision there for both teams just to call a timeout. Like, they need to reset. There are a couple of things that both teams just need to do as well. I think some of them being just like pause for a second before you release that disc. Make sure that you're cutter is actually available or moving, we don't want to throw to a static player, because that's when there's more opportunity for them to be intercepted, and we've seen quite a fair bit of that. We know the wind is whipping up, so it's quite fierce. We need to be really consistent with our throws, have a lot of flick on it, but also just like be patient. I mean, it's really tough when you're stuck down in the end zone corner up against a really tight zone, but just be patient, look for those opportunities. I think underground, when they're up against these zones, they need to make sure that some of their cutters are coming through the cup as well, really pushing the defense to be more active and to scare them a little bit more, just to like provide lots more options for these handlers. Because as you'll see, they're often just passing amongst themselves or then hucking long to get out on that space. So a couple of things for people to work on. But I just wanted to go back to the, would you guess it was?
Well, Hillary, I will tell you this. I don't think that many Australians would be able to place the Czech Republic on the map. So I'm going to go with being happy that I know where Australia is. No, this is being very ignorant. But I just, it's a thing where we're always trashing up Americans, saying that they never know where different countries are. But when you really think about it, when you've never been, when you've never traveled to this country, and maybe you had a bad geography teacher, so you didn't enjoy the subject as much. I kind of understand, and I don't think it's necessarily ignorance at all times. But I don't really have an excuse, because I have been to Australia 2 years ago. I didn't travel around too much. I was in Canberra and I was in Melbourne. But the truth is, I remember the feeling when I was there, and what I liked and what I didn't like. But sometimes for me to remember it, even just 2 years back, it's quite hard, especially when the names of the places are of the native origin, and then it's kind of, they're for me hard to remember. But I hope we can just all take it easy and still appreciate the beauty of other countries, even without remembering all the details. I really hope it's not offensive
Rachel,
to anyone.
that was such a politician's response. Like, you deflected really nicely, and I appreciate that. I was just winding you up, trying to put you on the spot. So you did a really good job to just go off.
But if you definitely want me to take a blind guess, I will, after I comment on this wonderful point by Underground. This was great stuff, and it's the first time that Underground jumps away by 2 points. Let's have a look at that layout catch. And a quick pivot, seeing the opportunity open up in the open side. And a beautiful backhand pass. Underground up by 2 points. This could be a decisive difference in this game, because they've been going back and forth so far. And my answer is East.
You are not wrong. It is in the north, and it is on the east side. So correct. You get 100 points.
Yay. And I did not even check Google.
Fantastic. Yeah.
So Underground finally getting... Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
I was merely going to echo what you're about to say, Rachel, so I'll hand back over to you.
Underground finally takes the upper hand in this game. Now you can see quite well the amount of wind at the fields. It was quite visible on those trees behind the puller that these are not the easiest wind-free, fun Sunday game conditions. And the teams definitely recognize it. Underground sticking with the zone defense. They have one marker, 3 players, or almost 4 sometimes, behind the mark, forming the wall. And seems like a foul called on the throw. So the disc goes back to Valkyrie, who are now quite under some pressure to score the next point, making sure they stay in tight on the point difference, employing the same kind of zone as their opponents. Number 29 with a big hug, but again collected safely by the deep defender of Valkyrie's zone. Mark sort of trying to defend everything there, not really picking a particular side. But an overthrow. But again, that tight spot, Hillary, the one that we have talked about. We will see what Underground does this time.
Yeah, good choice to move it really quickly once they picked up a disc, because that was a really tough side. That's where the wind is coming in on. Big block there.
And
from,
intercepted.
I think number 3.
Yes,
so
I
hard
think
to read
so
these
as well.
Valkyrie numbers.
Yes, it was number 3, and she did a great job reaching forward right in between the handlers positioned closely to each other. But it seems like it will be there was some kind of call infraction on the field. So Underground retains the disc. Now stuck on the sideline, and a wobble. Underground a bit undecisive on the defense, it seems like. Can't really tell if they're still sticking to their zone. But this pass definitely was to... Oh, it wasn't to no one. It was just a disc picked up by the wind. That definitely happens, and it's quite difficult for all players, really, not just the less experienced ones, to keep in mind the direction of the wind all the time and adjusting your throws accordingly. And here we see it happen again. With this kind of crosswind, you really have to put a lot of spin on your throws, and sometimes it's even, I would say, almost impossible, because of course the limited power your body can generate, and you really need to be focused on each throw, making sure you're engaging your core, getting the spin. Nice grab between 3 players. Valkyrie gets through, but yet again, I really wish I could see the number of the deep player in Valkyrie's zone defense, because she's been collecting discs in the back all the time. It's this one with the hat and long leggings. Unfortunately, I can't see her number, but I want to give her a shout out. She's doing a great job and getting all the discs and all the Ds for her team. In the meantime, 2 more turnovers. And Underground using some short passes and quick handler cuts to work around Valkyrie's zone. And this time it's the other direction, where the disc does the disc up high, but pushes it down low. And a nice breakthrow, but not quite as precise. It's number 13, Kennedy, trying to add an assist to the stats. And this is, oh no, it's Jager. In Czech I would just read Jager, but that's just definitely not the pronunciation. So I will let you pronounce it properly, Hillary, and give the shout out to our deep defender.
Thanks, Rachel. I'm not sure. Number 31, Emma Jager, maybe? But you could be right, Rachel. It could be Jager. She's also the spirit captain, which is fantastic, and she's been doing such a great job.
I see him. Well, she's doing an excellent job. Yeah.
Oh, I just wanted to say, I want to say thank you to Valkyrie for filling out that player form that we shared around. It's been really nice to read about these players, and some of them. So this club started in 2018, so they're doing really well thus far, and some of them have only just played with Valkyrie in like the last tournament or last couple of games. Some of them have come from Tasmania, which is another state of Australia. So it's really nice. It's quite a diverse team of people from all around.
And in the meantime, while trying to look for the right names and the right pronunciation, we have completely missed the next point of Valkyrie, who have managed to stay within one. And in what fashion? There was a wobble, which was about to result in a drop, but finally one Valkyrie player gets underneath and saves the day. So the score is 5-4, Underground staying on top, but Valkyrie sticking close, and I still think this game could go to Universe. Underground now, activating the handler, and as there's no one, they try to find somebody in the end zone. Downey didn't go for the reset, she didn't like the options. Wasn't a bad look, but again, a slight overthrow there.
Yeah, super tricky. She didn't have too many options, did she? She was looking for some cutter up the line, but when there's nothing there, sometimes you just have to generate those cuts as a handler. You just throw them and just hoping that the player will anticipate that it's coming.
Definitely. So in the meantime, Underground gets the disc in their possession again. Again, a tiny bit stuck on the sideline, but they do find an open player in the end zone. That seemed like a bit of an accident, and that the disc was intended to the front for the front receiver. But whatever works, works. Underground jumps off again by 2. Excellent stuff there.
Happy accident there. That was Needle just hanging out in the end zone waiting for that disc. You can see her cut deep just on the end of our screen. She turned to look deep, and then she saw that disc coming, recognized that her teammate wasn't going to get it, and came back in and under for that conversion. Good teamwork there. Yeah, she just had that heads up to see that she could get that. So
right, it's Needles, number 5.
Sorry,
Go ahead,
Rachel.
Hillary. Go ahead.
Oh no, it's good. Guys, if you're listening to us, for me, it's just about 6 a.m. The sun is rising. It's glorious, a beautiful, lovely, sunny but crisp day here in Edinburgh. I woke up and it was -2 degrees, and it's so lovely chatting to you, Rachel, but I wish I could see you, because all we can do is just watch the screen and chat.
That's right. And use a bit of telepathy to recognize the open spaces for the other one to speak.
I feel like there's a metaphor in there as well for Frisbee, like recognize the open spaces for your players, teammates, allow them to cut.
Yeah, definitely. That's probably as far as we will get for another couple of weeks at least with Frisbee, really, as Europe stays in lockdown. The Czech Republic just getting out of the hard lockdown with no crossing district boundaries, and yeah, it seems like there might be some loosening up of the measures in the upcoming days, but it's still unclear. Ooh! 3 players of Underground collide there, trying to catch the disc, and none of them ends up with it. And it also seems like they might have hurt one of them in the process. But no, it seems like number 29 is going to continue and that she's fine. Just shook it off. Valkyrie now with a ripper into the end zone. Great effort there from the receiver, really trying hard to run it down. But this is the downwind direction, so the disc picks up the speed as it goes. And despite the effort, it was just way too far. So I think this is my favorite puller in the game for Underground. Now taking on the handler role for them. There are some open crossfield opportunities behind the cup, but Underground just a bit too focused on that handler game. But it doesn't matter that they make the mistakes as long as they get the disc back almost immediately. Big fakes, quick uplines. You can hear the wind on the mic. And now Valkyrie in a great position. And the lefty handler will get off the back end to the front of the cone where the player was just standing with their arms open. Wonderfully recognized opportunity. Great fight out of Valkyrie, staying within 1. Let's have a look at the replay there. Wonderful quick score.
Rachel, I'm just gonna head back to the YouTube comments. Xavier has asked for a shout out for Con, Team Underground. So shout out to Con, there you go. And Devas has asked if you could guess where Victoria and New South Wales is, Rachel. I'm gonna give you New
this
South
is
Wales.
so embarrassing.
Let me set this up. If you're in the ACT right now, if you're on the field with these players down here and you want to go to New South Wales, what direction would you head? You could go anywhere in New South Wales, what direction would you head?
Is this really fun for you guys? Because I feel like someone's gonna go back and watch this and it's just gonna, oh my god. Okay, I'm gonna come up with a quiz of my own after this, but I will say...
Oh no, I'm afraid.
I will, wait. Victoria, I think. I feel like I knew this. No, I probably didn't. Let's say...
Can I give you a hint? If I may,
yes,
if
definitely.
You said you'd been to Canberra before.
Yes.
So do you remember what state Canberra was surrounded by?
I wasn't it Victoria?
No. But you know what?
No.
It's so difficult.
Oh my.
No, it was New South Wales. ACT is
I
surrounded
see.
by New South Wales. But that was such a hard question for you, Rachel. Like, I completely.
It was. It's
completely,
regions,
sympathize
guys.
with
It's
you.
like it's regions. It's I only focused on the country so far. But let's have a look at this beautiful hug. This is so unfortunate that it didn't work out. But anyway, back to your question. Basically, all I know, I'm not gonna lie. I know there's the Gold Coast, somewhere in the north. I will just tell you all I know about Australia. I think that's gonna be quicker. So the Gold Coast is northeast. Then Sydney is kind of nordish west, and then I know in the south there's Melbourne, Adelaide, and Canberra, and they form sort of a triangle. And that's about all I know. And then I know that in the middle there's not much. There's just like smaller cities, smaller towns. Right?
Yeah, not bad. Yeah, there's a big desert, big
Right.
open plains, which I believe some of our camera crew drove through to get to Canberra. It's like, I think a couple of them, definitely Rexy, who's on the line. He drove from South Australia to get to Canberra, and that is a
The
long
sacrifices we
and
take.
flat drive.
And here we go. In the meantime, beautiful end zone offense out of underground. Wow, what a way to separate that front stack player. And just a quick cut to the break side, get rid of your defender. Have a look again. Takes a shortcut to the break side and immediately looks to the open side, and it's Needle. It's my favorite number 5, my fellow number 5. So I think this is at least her 3rd point of the game, and out of the underground 7 points. That's almost a half. Great job, Needle. Excellent cutting skills, and really exemplary front stack and zone offense.
Yeah, I really like that movement there. You know, you're setting up the stack, but you're isolating that player at the very front. And all they need to do is just focus on their footwork. They need to make sure that it's really aggressive. And that was a really great cut. It was like coming out to get the defender offside, but using that really good footwork, turning quickly to generate that space on the other side of the end zone. Really nicely played.
And just to give a small incentive to European players who might not want to get up for these Australian games, this is the tactics that my team 3SB will be playing this year when we become the European champions. So if you're watching, I've just given away our tactics for the season. So hopefully the word spreads and more people will join and tune in on the action of Australian Div 2 Championship. We just saw a great layout grab out of Jacob or Jager. Still unsure about the name, but she's sporting great blue hair and gets the assist on the next point of underground, which might have been the quickest point we've seen this game. Sorry, Valkyrie.
Yeah, nice
sorry,
little...
Valkyrie.
You're doing so well, Rachel. I know it's been quite an early start for us, but also you were on yesterday early morning as well. Your commitment to Ultimate is quite something, so you're doing such a good job.
Thank you. I try. Look at that jump and point.
Exactly. I really like the little hop into the end zone. You see it looking for that opportunity. It's lots of defenders around, really hard to find something. Boom. That's a nice little handler movement as well, coming from behind. It's hard to defend those things because you, as a defender, you're typically in the end zone, marking that space, stopping cutters coming through. But when they come from behind the handler, really hard to defend.
Definitely.
Valkyrie looking a little excited for what they're putting out.
Yep, this time the pull goes almost immediately to the middle line of the field. And Valkyrie really needs to start pushing for that break to even out the score. And they might just get a chance with this upline overthrow. But denied immediately. And that's a point. As I looked away to check the YouTube comments, Underground secures yet again their 2-point difference. Evan picks up, as we see on the replay, and places it right on the money for number 21. Easy score there in the open side. Xavier, Hillary giving us both a shout out. Yay, thanks Xavier. And here's a question for the fans. I'm playing for the team 3SB, and where is that team from? We know it's the Czech Republic, but you know, you do a bit of Googling and you do a bit of geography, and have a look. It comes from a town, and here is your hint, that is famous for its beer. And I can bet you that you know this beer. You definitely know that brand. You might not think it's Czech, but you definitely know the brand.
Ooh,
so hit those comments.
Like your hint.
And
yeah, that's a
we
really
will
good hint.
evaluate your answers. We will evaluate your answers after the halftime. So we'll be right back. We didn't think we were going to make it to the half, but we have. So we will leave you with some highlights and hear you in a few minutes.
welcome back to this pool play game, last one of the day, Underground versus Valkyrie. Rachel, are you there?
Yes, I'm there making morning tea.
I was about to say you must be off getting a coffee or something, because that's what I just got. Did you witness that dancing from Valkyrie?
Yes, I was enjoying this very much. I'm a huge fan of dancing. I'm missing it so much. I had to play both Dirty Dancing movies last week, and then I spent the next day walking around and messaging to all my friends, being like, I just need to go to a dance club. I just want to dance some salsa. So, yeah, but mostly I end up just dancing around my room when, like, nobody's watching because no one's actually watching.
I know, I feel you, Rachel. I'm missing that vibrant night where you can just let out all of that energy, on the dance floor and just like get down and boogie with it. And it's difficult because where we're both located, we've just been in really strict lockdowns. So far different from how Australia is right now, which is quite clearly, on a very positive note, that they've got lots of COVID regulations in play at this tournament, but they're really fortunate to be able to play. In Europe, we've had to stop games, stop tournaments altogether for over a year now, and we're only just coming back into very restricted training sessions. Rachel, I'm not sure what it's like in the Czech Republic, but here in the UK, we're just allowed to play very small pickup and training, but no more than 15 people at a time, and absolutely no close contact. We actually have to keep 2 meters or a meter on the field as well.
I see. I didn't even know that you were allowed to play at all. So for us, it's been a hard lockdown since right about before Christmas, I think. The restrictions were getting tighter and tighter, so mostly just individual preparation, home gym workouts, some throwing or distance throwing or throwing by yourself. I think, like I said, they're loosening things up in the upcoming week. I think there were some rumors of maybe getting sports back on track with the maximum of 20 people, which clearly is enough for Ultimate. But this has not been confirmed yet. So far we've been without trainings, without practicing. But describing quickly the action on the field, I think there is a very good break opportunity right now for Underground, and they do not convert. That's quite unfortunate because that could have been the decisive point that Underground was waiting for. Now a lucky catch or an aware catch by Valkyrie. They move the disc forward. So basically in this game we've seen a very even, tight matchup between these two teams. They've been going back and forth quite a bit. Then towards the end of the first half, Underground managed to jump off by the one extra point. So now it's 8-6 and Underground is again starting on O and also going the, so to speak, easier direction. So if they can convert on this one, they will be in quite a good position, and Valkyrie would really have to put in all their strength and effort left in this last game of the day for them to get the win. What did you think so far of the game, Hillary?
I'm really impressed with both the teams' grit and just each point. Some of them have been really long. That was a really great block just there, slapped that disc to the ground. But both teams, like they're as you said, Rachel, they're fairly evenly matched. They're both doing similar things, and it's really anyone's game. Lots of turnovers like this, lots of bowls of the disc. They just need to watch it into the hands. I mean, it's so easily said by me from my couch in my home versus like being out on the field. It's a very different story, so I completely acknowledge that. But both sides, they're having to deal with the wind, they're having to deal with exhaustion. It's the end of the day. They're having to deal with, just those little tiny tweaks that you need to make, Rachel, at this point in a tournament. And you're probably really well accustomed to this, having played and also captained your side quite a lot, is, at this stage of the game, you need to make adjustments. You can't be putting up really long throws if you've got tired legs on the field.
And we
That
hear
was a huge
the
intercept
buzzer.
by Even Lim.
That was the 80-minute buzzer, I think, signaling the end of the game. I hope that's right. Anyway, nearing this 80th minute, we have one more challenge to face or to evaluate, which is our fun chat with our fans on YouTube. Before the halftime, I placed a question of where my team was from that I usually play for or have played for my whole life, really. It's called 3SB, and it's from a spot or from a city in the Czech Republic where a famous beer comes from. And Xavier, well, first Divas was really giving me a hard time and trying to get me back with my SA South America joke and said it might have been Germany or France. But Xavier got this right and said that my team was from České Budějovice, or Budweis, which is the German name of my town, and obviously Budweiser being the famous beer brewed originally in the Czech Republic. If you want to get it in the US and not end up with an American Budweiser, just look for Czechvar, which is what the other brand is, or the other brand name is in the countries where they couldn't win the trademark dispute. So just a little fun fact, completely unrelated to this game, unless you're really interested in the commentator.
I love that, Rachel. It's so interesting when you think about it. Like, a lot of people would have perceptions of one thing, where it's from, and there's another story to it.
That's right, and you can come for me for that anytime. And huge hugs, again, coming off both sides. We have seen these early in the game. And towards the end, they're not getting any less common. Underground now with a great shot but I think the some of the receivers just you can definitely see the fatigue setting in because they're not doing the final effort on those deep cuts. So it makes it even harder for the throwers to anticipate where their receiver is going to be. But this could be a costly error for Valkyrie. Losing the disc on a dumb pass, losing yards that you have gained by your hard work. Ooh, and a break throw. Needed a tiny bit more touch. But as long as there is still smiles on the players' faces, we can tell they're enjoying this windy game.
Yeah, we have reports that it might get up to 35 kilometers per hour with the wind, and that's really hard to throw into, having been practicing recently on a very windy day, my throws, and as we just see, evidenced by that disc floating up into the sky. So another turnover, Rachel. This point has had so many turnovers I've lost count, and I believe because the buzzer went on this point, it's finish this point and add 1 to the score.
A cap one, I would suppose so, yeah.
Yeah, Underground are in a good position if they can actually just convert this. if you were the coach down on the sideline there, would there be anything that you would say to either side right now?
Well, for underground, and I think this. I haven't seen these kind of efforts much, even in the last game I commentated yesterday, to kind of try and keep the disc on the further sideline so that it's a bit easier to get yourself in a better position to eventually score or get the right pass off. Basically, if you stay on the further sideline and you're going the direction of underground, so not the direction the game is happening right now, but the direction we will go. Staying on the further sideline from the camera perspective gives you the nice option of a high release backhand which will float, and yes, kind of like that, but being on the other side of the field gives you, of course, more space to throw into. And if you release that disc nice and high, it can go maybe even over the head of quite a few defenders, and you just need to place it to the right spot. And basically, you're just creating more space to throw into. But there seems to be a call on the field, bit of discussion, possibly a defensive foul on the throw. So this disc will go back. And underground with another chance, but now a violation with number 3 cutting a tiny bit too early. They activate the handler and try to get it to the further sideline, but we can see that these I think getting there would be a bit easier with really short, tight passes. But here they go, Valkyrie giving another chance to underground. I think this score is bound to happen. It's just a matter of time, really. And here it is, just like I said. Number 13 with the score. Underground gets it in. But we have some Valkyrie fans tuning in on the YouTube. We were asked for a shout out to Maddie Smith, number 11. She had her appendix taken out 2 weeks ago. Wow, that really is great effort for her to come back so quickly.
Yeah, that is truly
and
incredible.
Valkyrie will need all the support from their fans right now, being down by 3 and the game being in the cap already. Oh my god, look at Needle with all her energy on the sideline. She's definitely going to be my favorite player of this game. I'm just going to award this MVP, not being biased toward numbers 5, but it had to be said. Look at her being ready to score again.
Why is it that you love number 5, Rachel?
Oh, I thought I've made it obvious. It is my number, clearly. And it's also my Instagram handle, RachelKA number 5, if you want to hit me up with some comments and feedback on my commentary. Or rather not, just follow me and appreciate the content.
Is there a reason, though, why you chose number 5?
I honestly can't remember. I just think that the single-digit numbers are sort of, right on point, No hesitation.
Yeah.
And 5 just seems like high 5. No, there really was no reason. I probably just liked the number. Oh, what happened there?
That was
I was getting carried away.
Bit of a mistake pull there, but I really liked Underground's response. A couple of them laughing, noting that didn't really go anywhere.
Yep, that's what happens when you lead by 3. Ooh, and a cheeky overhead hammer to the end zone. That was number 8. Recognizing the opportunity quite well, but not even a layout could have saved that. So Valkyrie sets up a zone around the magic corner. I would say a good choice, trying to get at least a couple of meters in. Oh my god, that was so close. That could have easily been a score for Valkyrie, a much needed point. But again, the wind played with the disc a little bit and out of reach of the receiver. So Valkyrie fans really getting their thumbs ready. Crossing fingers for their team. They know how much they need this next point to stay in the game. But a huge huck goes up, and it will find number 88. Who's gonna pass it? Ooh! And again, a couple of players under the disc. But Underground will have time to set up their zone. But a great put from Valkyrie. Now stuck on the sideline, but they will get it to the end zone. Excellent stuff. Eventually just 2 passes needed for the score. And that's again Jacob doing a lot of work for her team. That was a break around throw there. The deep shot that went up. And Jacob with the score. Wonderful stuff. Valkyrie staying close, but they still have a way to go. Needing 2 breaks. Actually 3 breaks to win this game. And it will be quite a difficult point. So they do need to get their best people on the line right now. Hillary, how many chances are you giving Valkyrie to turn the luck in their favor?
Well, yeah, it ain't over till it's over, is it, Rachel? The points are long and there's lots of turnovers, so there's ample opportunity for Valkyrie to get to, breaks and actually secure this. But it's really tough now. They're going upwind on defense, and they're going to have to throw everything at it to stop Underground.
Absolutely. So we will await that next point anxiously. Rolling pull goes up from Jacob. Hits the middle line but goes back. She needs to stop it. Quick last shout out to Valkyrie's Kirsty number 9 and Min number 69. From Michael watching on YouTube. A nice straight mark put on by Valkyrie. And a big throw to the back of the end zone to my favorite Needle. But she can't quite get there. I think Underground will be quite relaxed. Maybe if this was the universe point, Needle would have really tried to get there on the ground and collect the disc no matter what. But knowing that you have that 3 break difference, it kind of allows you to adopt a bit more chill approach in terms of the opportunities you still might have to get the point. A disc goes up, a huddle of players underneath. Underground comes down with it. It's number 22. Ooh, and a foul on the mark, it seems. At least that's what's being signaled by the players. And Valkyrie facing the wind as they try to battle out the last point or more of the game. But again, this disc goes out of bounds. The forehand having the wrong rotation. And Underground now looking for an opportunity. They have an open upline cut, and a jump in will bring this home for Underground. Valkyrie fans at home obviously heartbroken, but it was a well-fought game from both teams. Underground eventually securing the win by few points with this beautiful jump in.
Yes, smart little jump in, and really exciting to watch these teams. They battled it out for well over 90 minutes. You know, it was a bit of a slog, wasn't it, Rachel? At some points there was lots of turnovers, lots of long points, tired legs out there. So really exciting to watch both teams come under, and I think a really well-spirited game as well from what we saw. Both sides did really well with communicating and also just maintained, great sportsmanship on the field.
Absolutely. We saw a lot more points towards the second half of the game. The first one, we thought we weren't even going to make it to halftime. The teams eventually did get scoring a bit more. Some fans watching at home, again, shout out to all of you who followed us on YouTube this whole game. We've had fun commentating. Thanks, Hillary, for being here with me. I will see you at the next game, which will be the men's quarterfinal, I believe. And thank you again for following this last women's game of the day. Please stay tuned. If you are going out for a break now and tuning in tomorrow, we will be here and some other European commentators as well for your pleasure. I was Rachel Toshnerova here with Hillary Holmes, and thanks for watching.
Alti.tv